Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
As I was growing up, in my 20s and 30s, I always used to hear this thing, stress kills. Watch out for stress. When you're younger, usually, don't really got a lot to worry about until you do. Then you realize what stress can do to you and how it definitely can kill. And the research is there and it's real. And we're going to talk about how to manage that stress today with somebody who's fantastic as a licensed professional counselor, supervisor. She's the owner of Transformation Begins Within, and she's Alice Ward, and she's back with us. How you doing, Alice?
What's up, fam? I'm well excited to be back and sharing today to see what we can learn from each other.
Absolutely. And learn from me. I gave myself a legit ulcer about 5 years ago. Not enough sleep, 3 jobs, renovated a backyard, but took on a lot of it myself. Family stuff. And it got to the point where something didn't feel right. And it got worse and worse. I'm like, something's not right. Something's not right. On my birthday, I was at the beach with my family at that point, and I actually said, gotta go. Gotta go. Went home, and I felt like my eyes were popping out of my head. And I normally have low blood pressure, no issues whatsoever.
Right.
I said, I'm driving myself to the hospital. That's how bad it got. I didn't know what it was. And we found out, it wasn't a huge ulcer, just a little one, but all from stress. So not about me, but I wanted to illustrate that because I let it happen. I let the stress happen.
Yes. For sure. And stress is one of those things that we all deal with as people. No one is exempt from stress, right? You often hear you have bad stress and good stress. But either way, even good stress can still alter your life in some ways. But the focus is probably more today on the bad stress, that interrupting stress that deteriorates our well-being. And stress is just the demands or how we respond to the struggles of life, right? So that's stress. How are you responding to what's going on? And it's often coined that stress is a silent killer because you just think you can keep going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. But unfortunately, we don't have those kind of batteries. And even the bunny batteries have to be replaced every once in a while, right? So I think with that, though, that stress says that we can keep doing it and doing it. But guess what? Our body gives us signals. Our body never stops alarming us. We just stop listening. And so one of those things that you were experiencing, some of those symptoms, that was your body's way of alarming you. Hey, something's going on here. I'm not all right. I'm not okay. Whatever you want to do, about it. But it's a way to alert us so we can keep ourselves healthy. It's an indicator. Some needs to be addressed and action needs to be taken. Stress should never be overlooked. It's an indicator. It's a signal. It's a sign. Hey, what's going on here? So pausing and giving yourself an opportunity to deal with it becomes important because then it can become insurmountable and then you don't know where to begin. Then it starts affecting other areas of your life and that's problematic.
And it could be in the background causing illness, causing disease. You don't even know it. All you're doing is ignoring it, and nobody knows your body better than you. You have to listen. And we all if I don't get enough sleep, I have a certain feeling. If I need to eat, I have a certain feeling. And when none of them all go together, it's like, then it's time to call a doctor. But just got to listen to it. Now you said, Alice, you said good stress. What's good stress?
Oh, job promotion could be good.
Okay.
Stress. That's good stress. You being, elevating even a new baby in the family could be, new stress. You moving to a side of town or area of town you wanted to live in can be, good stress. So it's things that you wanted to work on and you've acquired. But you don't always account that stress could also accompany that promotion, could accompany that, elevation, could accompany that positive change that you work toward. It still can be stress even in dealing with the newness of all of that too. So yes, it's very possible. Often people don't even think about things are going well, things are going good. So why am I stressed? In ways you can probably tell that even with good stress, you can still get a headache.
Oh yeah. But I see it now. The good stress is call it positive stress. So you get a job promotion, you've been
Yeah.
looking for it.
Hmm.
I got some extra work here, got to figure out this new position, as opposed to the other side where I can't deal with my job. And at the time, I loved my job, but the hours challenging. I got up at 3:54 a.m. Had done it for decades,
Wow.
and in radio, I do a morning show. So I would loved it, but you know what? It took its toll of not enough sleep, and then I would call that the bad stress because I don't want to wake up that early, but I had to. But it was all good. But I see your point. Yeah, baby in your life, not going to be getting enough sleep, you know that, but it's a good thing, but it's got challenges with it at the same
Yes,
time.
right. And stress can be behavioral, it can be emotional, it can be cognitive, it can be physical. So those are some things to know. How does your stress manifest? Because some people manifest maybe by wearing. Someone else's may manifest by like back pains or indigestion. Someone else's may, manifest behavior like restlessness. So part of you may have a combination of that, but knowing, what is your stress? Is it behavioral? Is it emotional, cognitive? Is it physical? Is it showing up somatically in your body? Is what I mean by physical. So those are just great signs to pay attention to, when it comes, to stress. Is it acute? Is it something more chronic, something more long term that keeps going on and on and on? And we just keep thinking that we can keep dealing with it. But there's no trophies for how much pain you can carry. They're not passing out no trophies for how much stress, you can endure. So it is really important for us to recognize that, because it does play a big part in our functioning and our ability to be at our best, which of course affects our mental health as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go check the shelf because I don't recall ever getting a trophy for all the times I didn't take all my vacation time. And I didn't do that because I wanted to, over the years back in the day, wanted to show my value for my employer. And there's no trophies over there. I got nothing. All I do is lose out, and I could add less stress.
Yes. So that's great to think about, Steve, even thinking about too, another way we see stress is through our stress responses, and that's through fight and flight. We've added two more, two more become more common, but fight or flight are the more common ones, but you have freeze and you have fawn, FAWN. So the fawning actually is appeasing and pleasing. It's where you just kind of give in to the person and give them what they want, and you say whatever that is for them to stop what they're doing, or whatever that may be. Flight and freeze. Oh, well, let me go back. Freeze is more so when fight or flight are not available, and you just get stuck. It's like you literally like shut down. Fight is where you push into what's going on. Flight is when you just get the heck up out of their piece. I'm gone, like literally. But all of those are ways for your body to keep you safe. So there are survival mechanisms, and we're not meant to live in that place long term, because guess what happens when we're in a stress response? We go offline. We lose access to the things that's in our upper brain. In our higher brain, it gives us the logic, the reasoning, perception, understanding. When we're normally stressed, we're normally emotional. And we're in that lower brain, and we're normally responding to the emotions of what's actually happening. So that's something to know, too. And all of us have stress responses. All of us have a way of how we deal with things, and that becomes important for you to know, what yours is and how does it show up, in your life, too, because what happens is the blood starts flowing faster, in our body, your breathing starts to change. And so one of the things that helps with that, because at that point, you're not balanced, if you will. You don't have a homeostasis, situation going on. And so that's where relaxation comes in, because it can help calm your body down. It can help regulate your body to give you that information that you need, but also to help you become more in control. Because when we're normally in fight or flight, it's like, look, I'm trying to survive. I don't care about nothing else. Right now it's all about, survival. So that's something, and everybody has different degrees of what that looks like. And we need it. We have what's in our brains called the amygdala. And that little part of our brain is the fear center. It alerts us and lets us know we need it. So we need to know if something is going on, but not everything that we perceive is real. Not all fear is real, and so but the amygdala doesn't know that. So all the amygdala is going to do is say, hey, this is happening. You need to do something. with this. Amygdala does not have logic.
Is that part of our subconscious?
And so part of that is, and your subconscious, too, speaking of that, it's always alert and always awake. So it's going to always want to protect you. And it doesn't forget anything. Like if you heard, let's say, for instance, you were at school and you had a fire drill. And literally the sound of that, the drill going on, your body is alerted to that. So let's say, for instance, you later on in life, you hear that same sound. You might connect that to, oh, it's a fire. Because your mind has stored that information. And you might say, okay, let's hurry up, let's get out the house. But guess what? That was something on the TV that was going off. So that's a way of knowing that too, that yes, it's a way that we can respond to certain, or should I say react? Because another thing is when we become stressed, we release cortisol. Excess cortisol in our body causes us to be more reactionary. So that means that we're not in control. The other person or the situation is in control. We want to be more responsive. Even in stressful situations, you want to have a plan on how you want to respond to that. And henceforth, knowing your triggers becomes something that's really important. Knowing those triggers, knowing those hot buttons can save your life or save someone else's for that matter, for sure.
How do we look at stress and manage it? And I know on a life coach level that you can, on the long-term plan, you can help people and move their lives forward with a plan. But the one that you said before, boundaries, people ask you to do something and you're like, yeah, sure. I'll help you out with that. Meanwhile, your plate is like stacked to the top and you feel guilty for saying no, but you got to say no is a complete sentence. Yeah. Period at the end, you're done. So the boundaries is one, I guess. Other ways to manage stress. What do you think?
Wow. So several ways I will offer, but I will say one of the things that's important is getting to know yourself. Getting to know who you are, and also realizing everybody is not your assignment and every problem is not meant for you to solve. That becomes important, because if not, you will continue piling your plate, up, thinking you have to digest all this is on, your plate. Is like, well, wait a minute. I don't even have enough room for that. And it's okay. Like you were saying, no. Other things that can be helpful with stress, volunteering. That's a great way. Getting out, volunteering, trying something new is also a great, something that helps, with stress. I would say balance, or doing things as far as what brings you balance in your life, and only you can determine that. And so when I say balance, I mean harmony. I mean thinking like a choir, and you hear a choir singing, you hear all the voices blending together. That's what I'm saying. What does that look like for you? What does that harmony look like in your life? And it can look different for from person to person. But I would also say not trying to compare your life to someone else's, because that's a really big, if you will, thief in our life. Reassessing priorities. Everything might not be important, and everything is not important. So that becomes important and something to do. But sometimes reassessing relationships. I know we talked about, right, in podcast, passes that becomes important, because some of your relationships could be stressful, and the relationships are stressful, but to the point that it is becoming unmanageable. Other things that you can do is keep a gratitude journal. What are you grateful for? Because sometimes we often lose sight of things that, that is going well. Listening to music. That's something else. Dancing, getting up, moving around. Something that sometimes we don't think about, but coloring. That seems very elementary in nature, but coloring is really therapeutic. And it's really something that is beneficial. Coloring, painting, drawing, doing crossword puzzles, getting outside, getting sunlight. Another one is forgiveness. Sometimes we're carrying so much stuff, and it ain't even nothing that's really happening now. It's things that's already happened, and we're still carrying those things, and they feel like they're in the present because we've carried them into the present. So I say forgiveness is another big one. Practicing self-care.
Funny you should say that, because I wanted to read this. Instant feedback, steve@gmail.com. This is Dina from Charlotte, North Carolina, and says, thank you for your talk today on managing stress. I'd like to add that taking time for yourself means so much. I now get a massage every week, even if it's only 10 minutes at the nail salon, and I look forward to it and it makes me feel much better. Keep up the great work.
Yes.
Mm, yeah. And what did that massage cost? I like typically at a salon, it's like $1 a minute. So, like you, 2 coffees and you've already paid for that.
And you're worth it. And that's the thing, you're worth it. And the thing about when it comes, it doesn't have to be like you're just sitting down and doing something. Stress also, things that you can do to manage it, is it breathing? Just being mindful of your breath, because that's something that's important. You always have your breath with you. Mindfulness, using your senses. What do I see? What can I touch? What can I taste? What can I smell? What can I hear? Because that brings us back to the present. Using empowering or affirming and uplifting, words. So it's an acronym that may be helpful when it comes to managing stress. Break, BREAK. The B is for breathe. Breathing, reminding yourself to breathe. The R is rest. Because sometimes we don't think about it. And rest doesn't necessarily mean that you're not doing something, but sometimes it may mean you need to do nothing at all. E is for empowering. Say 3 thoughts is uplifting. Say 3 things nice about, yourself. A is for acknowledgement. What do I need to acknowledge that's going on? Because denial is actually a coping skill. However, it's an avoiding coping skill. So that means it's something you're not dealing with. And so that could be also creating stress on the back end. So acknowledgement. And then the K is knowledge. Think before you speak. Because sometimes we can end up in situations, and that becomes even going back to overcommitting. Hey, if I think about it, then I will be able to say no, because I know I have 5 or 6 other things to do. But when I'm impulsive, I'll just say yes to everything. And then it's like, now, what do I do? So it's important to take breaks, throughout our day. Other things, boxing class. Sometimes we got some of that pent up energy and we just want to get it all out. Finding things like that exert that energy, going to boxing class, kickboxing, class.
Oh my gosh. Oh, let me jump in right there. So I would go to the gym, and it's okay. And I had a friend who trained me as well, like last year. And we put on the gloves and I never got what kickboxing really was until you start pounding that bag. And then it's like, oh, this is good. All your stress, all the frustrations, let it out right there. It is so, and what a workout. It looks easy when you start going and your mind is connected. And sometimes, let's be honest, you could look at the bag and picture somebody else.
Yes, if you needed to, yes.
But whatever you got to do to release that pent up stress, very powerful. Even just going to the gym, if you're getting there, you're steps ahead right there.
For sure, because we carry so much in our bodies, and we don't even realize how much we carry. And so that is a great way to release it. Every day, finding a way to release your day is important. Whatever happened today, what do I want to do to release, my day? And that could be, hey, another great exercise to do is tapping. Tapping is known from emotional function. Emotional is EFT.
Freedom technique, emotional freedom technique.
That's it. Perfect. Thank you, Steve. And so part of that is knowing you can do that yourself. And so you can go, and they have a lot of videos on it, but it allows you to touch or tap on meridian points that also help you as far as with stress. So tapping, incorporating some of those things in your day. Also identifying what's the origin of my stress. Do you even know why you're stressed? Is it a reason to be stressed? So some of that is getting to the origin of it, or you thinking because it's generational. Because sometimes we just carry stress because our mom and our dad and our grandparents and our family carry. It's like, you know what? You don't have to be stressed. One of the things that I teach my clients is not letting someone else pull you into their stuff. Someone else can be stressed, and I can empathize and even sympathize with your stress, but that does not mean I have to be stressed with you.
Do not get sucked in. It's so easy. Let's say you've got a friend going through some major drama. It happens, life, whatever. But let's say they're going through a nasty divorce. Let's say you're friends with the couple, and now you're in the middle, and you're dealing with it. And you don't even realize it's going on there. And by the way, with the EFT, the tapping, I'm just skimming the surface. I just started looking into it, tried it once. Wow. And there's so much out there. There's an app on my phone that I haven't even used it yet. It's been sitting here for like a month. It's called Tapping Solution. It's a free start, like you said, Alice. There's videos that go along with it to show you how to do it and what to say. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there once you kind of figure it out.
Yes, you can. And you do things every day and you don't even think about, then what you're doing and incorporating just more of that and just finding something that makes you happy. Doing something every day that makes you happy. It's like, hey, you know what? It may just be, watching the sunset that makes you happy. It may be the sunrise that makes you, happy. Maybe going on a hike, that may, make you happy. Playing an instrument to make you happy. So finding those things that you enjoy doing, having a pet, if you have a pet, or maybe you want to get, a pet, playing cards, hanging out, with friends, going to the library, just changing your environment can literally work wonders for you, really.
Let's go back to the pet because it is scientifically proven that it is therapeutic. And I just adopted another kitten from a rescue 2 weeks ago. And before that, it was about 4 months ago, and makes such a difference. And even last night, and I finally integrated that new kitten into the rest of the house and the other pets. And I'm laying there on the couch late last night, and that little kitten comes up, jumps up, and just kind of like just is in the blanket, and it's like, that feels good in terms of releasing stress. It's why they bring pets to senior centers and let them pet them, because it does something. It's therapeutic. So yeah, absolutely. If you can do it, definitely the pet route.
And even people can now, often therapists or doctors can write letters for emotional service animals. It actually shows us a connection with helping manage anxiety and depression and things. So it really does show you that another dimension of how pets can really be helpful just to your life, period. So
yeah. So with you working with somebody, you come up with a plan. That's basically that's the starting point. If somebody is stressed out or stress is a part of their challenge, they reach out to you. How does it work from there, Alice?
So once they reach out to me and we kind of identify what's going on from a stress standpoint, then we figure out what do they want to do with it. Because the reality is too, Steve, that some people have a codependent relationship with stress. So they don't know how to break up with it. I've lived with it all my life. It's been a part of my life. And so you want me to do something else. And so one of the first things is, hey, we need to break up. Or the other part is like, you know what, you're not really serving me. You're not really doing anything. You're really taking more than you're giving. You know me. So sometimes we got to go through that breakup phase. It's not, it's not you, it's me kind of a thing that people often say when they are, breaking up or ending a relationship. So that's the first part. Like, what do you want your life to look like? And what is it going to take to do that? And how is stress interfering with that? And what do you want to do, about this? So I actually turn it back on the client to figure out what that looks like, for them. And then we learn, things, kind of look at history, when were they introduced to stress, what's the purpose of it, explaining some of those things. So a lot of education happens, and then we check in, but a lot of it is daily for them to do. I tell my clients, you have about an average of 10,000 so minutes a week. You only spend 60 of those with me. So most of your work, really all of your work, is going to happen outside of therapy. So that's something really important. And I often tell them, make your minutes matter. So when it comes to stress, how are you being intentional about managing it? What are you doing as a manager? And so sometimes we have to change our management style to help us do better with, stress. And so that's another one too. So it's many different directions that we go in depending on, what's happening. Or then we also come up to, Steve, with something I say days of the week. So we'll first start with Monday. What do you want to do Monday as it relates to stress? It's Music Monday. So when on Monday comes, you listen to music. Tuesday could be trail day. So on Tuesdays, I hit the trail. Wednesday, maybe water day. I'm focusing on my water consumption. Thursday is try something new. Friday, maybe, forgiveness. Forgiveness Friday, Freedom Friday, doing something that, causes you to feel or to be free. Saturday could be self-care, another one could be, just another S I'm trying to think of for Sunday.
So I always, what I call it, I try to make all my Sundays Sunday fun day.
Yes.
Whatever it might be, I'll meet up with a friend, and I even say, you want to do a Sunday fun day? What do you want to do? I don't know. Let's try that new restaurant by the water. Okay, let's do that. And it's stuff to look forward to. I love what you said before, Alice, in terms of breaking up with stress, because I've often heard too, if you want to be successful financially or have a better financial situation, you need a relationship with money. Invite it to dinner. It's sitting across from you. Set a place setting. I know it sounds crazy, but it's all up here. Same thing with stress. Stress, we need to have a talk. Okay. Just go into it. You have such great insight. Transformingmindsets.com is the website, right? Transformingmindsets.com, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I think we have an internet connection issue here. I'm getting a warning. It's really weird.
It's all good.
But Alice, always great having you on. Love the insight, and minimize the stress. Come up with a plan for your life and move it forward. Transformingmindsets.com. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Steve. You have a great weekend.
Oh, you too. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.